I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm not too bad looking. It feels weird saying it, but I'm kinda, you know, pretty. And it's important to the story, it is. I'm not just saying it. It's just one of those things, I guess. So it happened back in freshman year, this time I'm talking about. College, I mean. Those first few weeks when everyone is so unbelievably nice to each other. I made the mistake of becoming best friends with my roommate. Her name was Cecilia, and we were best friends forever. Out of convenience. And fear too, I guess. Cecilia was probably the smartest person I knew. Nice, too. She was pretty on the inside, if you want to look at it like that. But the outside wasn't exactly prize-winning. Clothes, makeup, new haircut. It just doesn't work for some girls. We were at a party, Cecilia and me, this split house somewhere way out on the D-line. I dragged her along, told her it was to boost her confidence. If I'm gonna be honest, I really just wanted to see what she'd do at a party. I was there for a boy. I didn't know him that well. I'd seen him around. But I remember really liking him. It was almost disgusting. And I knew it wasn't gonna go well with Cecilia standing right next to me. I pawned her off on a pack of random boys. And they were drunk or high, or maybe they weren't. But I guess they started making fun of her. Turned it into a game. Winner's the one who makes the ugly girl cry first, something like that. I think one of them even said she had maggots in her, you know. Really nasty stuff. But I'd found my guy and we were talking in the kitchen. When Celia jumped me, started tugging on my clothes like some kind of little kid. She was snorting and crying. And I'm not gonna lie, it was embarrassing. I told her to get the fuck away from me. I said this to her face. Looking back, I was wrong, but I don't know, she was getting in the way. I tried to sort of ease back into the conversation, play it off. But I could tell Cecilia had really freaked him out. So I just sort of gave up at that point. I bought a cup and started drinking and spent the rest of the night avoiding her. Get back at her a little. Then it got late, and the last train was about to shut down, so I figured I'd better find her. Though part of me did want to leave her there. I knew she'd lose it if I did that. So I'm looking around, and nobody's seen her. And it's loud, and I'm drunk, and I don't really know what I'm doing anymore. And finally I open this door, and there she is, on the carpet. And her skin was kind of greasy. And there was this guy on top of her. My guy. I almost died right there. I closed the door, kept looking through the gap. He didn't see me. But I know she did. Didn't say anything, though. His hand was covering her mouth, and she was making these noises. And I can tell you for the record, I didn't see any maggots. He finished a couple minutes later, but she was still screaming. He begged her to stop, started shaking her. Eventually, he just hit her. These sort of weird slaps. Not what you'd expect from a guy like this. Eventually, though, he got her to shut up. But he was crying almost as much as she was. It was almost funny. In a weird sort of way. I guess you'd have to have been there to know what I'm talking about. And then he threw open the door without looking, and there we were. Him and me. We stared at each other for what felt like forever. And let me tell you, I have never, ever seen anything like the look on this guy's face. So I smiled at him. I did. And he asked me a question. And I said no. And so he left. And then I left. Caught the last train home. And that was that. I just remember thinking, I was there too. I was an option. Not that no. Don't get me wrong. It's just, why choose her? Between the two of us, it should have been no contest. I was by myself for a few weeks before they gave me a new roommate. Nice girl. Publishing major or something. I didn't get too friendly this time. Sometimes I want to call Cecilia up. See how she's doing. But I know how she's doing, and I don't really know what I'd say. And I know that makes me a bad person, but so do a lot of other things. And I don't know, I guess I'm just still upset about it. I looked her up the other day, though I did. Found a picture of her online. It took me a while to find a recent one, but there it was. I must have stared at it for hours. It was almost amazing. She looks like shit. never touch her again. And I know it shouldn't. But that really does make me feel better.